Welcome to the 5K5. I am Mark, and I'm joined by Dave Conklin. He happens to be my father,
Hey.
and he is the CEO
I'm
of.
surprised you admit that.
Why?
Just being funny, Mark.
I forgot. You like to start off your podcast with a little small talk.
A little small talk.
Yeah.
I do like a little bit of small talk, but today instead, I can just sip my coffee.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What's your favorite coffee?
I like a dark roast decaf coffee
Nice.
because as I got older, I'm approaching 50, and as I got older, I started having some caffeine issues. And so I try to only do 2 cups of caffeine now a day, and then I could not find a dark roast that I liked. Pete's Dark Roast Decaf.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyway, so he is the CEO and founder of 5K, which is the company that where this podcast is under. And so today we're going to be talking about a topic that is kind of sort of like on edge. People have different opinions on it. And yeah, so we're going to talk about why CEO.
But our opinion is the only right opinion, of course.
I agree with you. I think it's the right opinion as well. But so we're going to talk about why CEOs need to embrace AI, and the CEOs that aren't embracing AI, what are the consequences? So to start, we're going to talk about, I have 3 questions because this is technically a 5-minute, 5K5. But it's probably going to go over as most of them do.
Mine tend to go a little bit longer than 5 minutes.
Jonathan's been the closest one to 5 minutes.
Jonathan is our most efficient team member, I
think. Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Yes. So we're going to start off right off the bat with number 1. Do you think that most CEOs truly understand AI, or are many still treating it as a buzzword?
I think very few understand AI. I think I just had dinner the other night with a friend who owns a pretty large 180-person company. And, we were kind of talking through things. And one of the things that I brought up to him is so many CEOs see this as approving AI means that we just gave approval for our whole team to have a ChatGPT account or a Claude account or whatever. And that is not AI. That is a chatbot. Completely different. So I think the main problem, and it's the same one that I wrote my book about years ago, Lost at 30,000 Feet. At the time, that book was written about digital marketing and how CEOs, and this is crazy too, many of them still don't understand digital marketing.
Yeah.
And now you're throwing AI on top of it. It's like in school. This is the best way I can summarize this question in under 60 seconds. It's like in school where you're in like a chemistry class and there are early foundations where you're just understanding the elements and the different type of elements that are available and things like that. More advanced things get learned on top of that, or in math this happens, where more advanced things are learned and they're layered. But if you don't understand the basics, then you completely get lost. So
Yeah.
CEOs have no concept of what the capabilities are because there's so much information out there and it's very hard to disseminate what is accurate and what is not. So in my experience, most CEOs are not currently understanding, and all they need to do is call a reputable firm. We're one of them, of course, but there's many out there. A reputable firm who actually understands business. They're not just an AI house. They understand business. They understand business efficiencies. They understand, SOPs and frameworks and how to actually operate and run a business in all categories, which is very rare, by the way, in the AI world. You get a lot of AI people who are great and smart with AI, but they don't understand the business side. You kind of need both. But if you get somebody to come out and look at your situation, and what we've been talking about a lot lately, I'll finish with this. Mm-hmm. What we've been talking about a lot lately is you need to build your AI brain. And we're doing something called 5K OS here. All it means is, we are building out an AI database, which is almost free. It's like a couple of bucks a month, literally.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. So what's happening now, similar to the digital revolution where everyone was scanning all of their physical documents to turn them digital to be stored and accessed digitally. Now all of those digital files need to go into an AI database, which becomes the brain of your organization. And it future proofs you because now once you have that database, it's a big undertaking, but once you have that database that literally breaks down everything about your company, literally everything, SOPs, people, job descriptions, how you handle customer support, like all that stuff organized well in a database. At that point, you can now build apps that integrate in between apps and between roles, positions, all that kind of stuff. So that's what AI is. And no, most CEOs have no concept that you can even do what I just described.
Yeah. I want to touch a little bit more on the companies who have a lot of knowledge with AI need to also understand business. Let's touch on that a little bit because I think that's a really important thing that a lot of people just like misinterpret. And some companies are like, "Oh, I want to like hire an AI guy who can tell me how to use AI." When that AI guy is not going to tell you how to use AI in the business aspect and use AI to grow your business. Touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, so a great example would be, let's say that there's an AI developer that you bring in, and you really want to, look at your customer service team, and you want to make them more efficient, by building like, some kind of a solution, a chatbot solution. So they might come in and they'll build out, what they believe to be a database like what we're talking about, and they'll put that into a chatbot. But that information, that chatbot doesn't actually integrate with anything else in the company. Where a true person who understands, like business consultancy, they're going to look at that chat app and think about how it can now influence product development.
Mhm.
And they're gonna, like look at how it can help sales to close more. So they're gonna integrate that in a way deeper in the organization, so that the information that AI is learning from the interactions on the chatbot and the positive outcomes and all that kind of stuff, it's like it's not machine learning, but it's pattern recognition that's then being kind of distributed throughout the rest of the website. I think I just explained that in a complicated way, but I don't know how else to
Well,
how
yeah.
else to say it.
When I
So
think like to put it this way, I think more in simple terms, you have a company who hires, an AI guy to come in and he looks at your stuff. He shows you all the stuff you need to do, like what AIs to use for what. Let's say you want a better content creation, process. He like goes through, utilize Claude, to help you write your content.
but see, that doesn't mean go to claude.com and use the chatbot.
Yeah.
You're creating a software entry point. It's not, they don't see that it's using Claude.
Yeah.
That's kind of my point.
Yes, exactly.
Like yes, it's using Anthropic,
Mhm.
which is Claude, but it's using the API on the back end of your software. So
Yeah.
yes, it's using that model. There are thousands of models now, and different models are good at different things. And so, that's another element of it where, you have, yeah, I interrupted you and I
Oh no,
apologize for that,
no, no.
but like that just hit me, because
Oh yeah.
what you just said, CEOs translate to mean I'm going to have my guy go to claude.com and write content. Like that's not it. I was
Exactly. Yeah.
just yesterday, a good friend of mine owns a couple of restaurants, and he was telling me how frustrated he was with AI because he was trying to do some kind of a blueberry latte recipe, and it kept screwing up over and over again. But he's just going to ChatGPT and doing this exercise, and it's running out of context, and like he doesn't have a brain for his business. And I said, dude, like you need to change the way, if you want to be really efficient with this and you want all of your people to be able to use it, you want to be able to create resources for your servers to be automatically trained with audio interaction, and we built stuff like that,
Yeah.
and things like that. Like you have to go beyond where you're at now and build your AI brain.
Yeah, exactly. And I think to utilize AI properly to solve challenges with your business, you have to understand first the challenges that your business is having, or the processes that are taking, too long, or just different stuff to streamline your operations. You have to understand that, and your AI expert needs to understand that before they can give you real insight on how to utilize AI properly for your goals.
Yeah, which is done through an interview process.
Exactly. Yes.
What we do when we go to organizations, we start at the top and we interview the CEO, and we interview the C level, and then we interview VPs, directors, then we interview the people on the ground. We interview everybody.
Mhm.
And those audio interviews or video interviews or screen sharing interviews where we're seeing how people do things, that's what goes in this database. And then from there, you start to build out, your whole system.
Yeah. So that brings me to question number two. What separates the CEOs who will win with AI from those who will fall behind?
So I think that this is an elephant, and how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Mhm. Yeah.
So the first bite that I think every CEO on the planet has to take is building out a database. You have to get all of your information from digital into, you're not taking it from digital, you're just taking that information, you're storing it in a database and creating a system that automatically does that. And a lot of people are worried about security with that. There's so many ways to handle that. FERPA compliancy and HIPAA compliancy are two of the most strict compliancy rules with data sharing that are out there. One of them's for education and one of them's for health. And we there are enterprise level companies that are doing what we're suggesting. If someone is completely against the idea of having their private information, out there stored in the cloud, so to speak, there are ways to do it internally. You just buy an NVIDIA server and run it, in your,
Like locally.
locally at your business. You
Yeah.
can do it
Which
that way
that
too.
could be a little pricey though, correct?
Yeah, you're probably, it's going to be 30 grand or so for a computer that can handle doing what we're discussing. That'll be cheaper over time.
Yeah.
But again, there's Google's security in their cloud. Microsoft's security in their cloud is more secure than anything you could possibly do.
Yeah.
In your own organization, for most companies anyway. However, like their security is heavy. The reason that people worry about is because their security is so heavy, but they're so big, they get attacked a lot. So everyone can get attacked. Target's gotten attacked, whatever. Yeah. So there is always a risk there. There's never a 100%, issue, but that's what's going to separate people, because again, it goes back. If everyone was starting to learn chemistry right now at the same time, and everyone was on equal playing field, the people that start learning the basics and start getting their head wrapped around this core concept of, okay, I have to create an AI brain. What the hell does that mean? Well, the people that do that are going to be a step ahead. And then when they build that one first app,
they learned so many different things.
Exactly. So it might be like, maybe for their human resource department, they build a fun way for their 10,000 employees to access, a chat bot or an audio, video, even a video interaction thing that's AI, where they can talk to it and get feedback on, approvals for health insurance or what's covered under this policy or whatever. That is pulling information from the brain so it doesn't hallucinate.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're just offering that as like a weird thing that you build inside of ChatGPT or whatever, like it can hallucinate. It's not controlled. So yeah, I think that's going to be the first thing. That what separates them are, there's people that are going to wait for software to come out that's AI enabled and all that, and then there's people that are going to take charge and they're actually going to build their own AI brain, which is not an expensive endeavor. That's
I think that's what most people assume, is that
Yes.
AI is so expensive. It's really, well, a lot of it is, but like stuff like this, like, if you actually do some research, it's really not that pricey.
So the whole world is changing to software building, and so okay. A lot of people think of hours, like man hours. So man hours is how we used to measure labor. Now it needs to be measured by electricity as a utility, because like we just built and launched this morning. Actually, we had an app approved. Our Jesus Chat app got approved, and by the App Store. I've been building that for 3 years.
Yeah.
And when you analyze it, AI would tell you that was an app that would cost about $1.5 million to build. It would take a team of six a year and a half prior to AI.
Yeah.
Okay. So that app would have been impossible for us to build, right? I did 98% of that. You probably did 2% of it. Thank you for the 2%. Not meaning the value was 2%, just the stuff you worked on it and helped out with was probably about 2%.
Yeah.
So that app, though, being launched now, that would have been impossible. I didn't pay any labor other than you for that 2%.
Yeah.
Right. All of my, it's a utility. What it cost me was tokens, just like your electric bill going up and down. So what's different, and people have to think different about software now. You don't have to pay $1 zillion a month to have Salesforce.com. You can build your own Salesforce.com in a month. Like that's customized for your business.
Yeah, exactly.
And what do you pay for that? You pay the labor for the AI person to do it, and then you're paying for tokens, which is API usage for the different models.
Yeah.
So people that know that and embrace it and start doing it, they're the ones that are going to win, because they're not going to be behind. People, this is moving 100 times faster than the internet did, and I was alive and in business when the internet came out, and that was fast. And CEOs got lost at 30,000 feet because they didn't embrace it early. And so they didn't jump into it and understand it. So now all of a sudden, 2 years later, and even when Facebook came out, everyone was like, we do Facebook. What that meant to them is we have a Facebook logo on our webpage that says, visit our Facebook page. That's not doing Facebook. That's having a page on Facebook that doesn't do anything. They're looking at AI the same way, because they don't know what they don't know, and they don't know how to figure it out.
Exactly. And they're not putting themselves in a spot to figure it out either.
A lot of them might be, but how many freaking videos a day are they getting hit with? There's so much crap out there. And then they try one thing and it's garbage, and
They lose
that's
hope
their
for AI.
that becomes their opinion of AI.
Yeah.
Same thing with our agency. We have clients here since 2009, and the reason for that is because we are good at what we do, and the people that stick with us a long time don't cancel. We have so many of those stories. But to get a new client for us, we're looped in with all of the other agencies. So until we take the time and they take the time with us to prove it, you can't see it. So AI is exactly the same way. Somebody jumps into ChatGPT, asks it to write, an email, or asks it to write a letter to somebody or something, and it screws up one time. They don't talk and interact with it, number one. But number two, they're basing what AI means as the chatbot they interact with.
Exactly. When there's so much more out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at what point does a CEO's failure to embrace AI become a leadership failure rather than just a strategic choice?
Today.
Really?
It's been out for 3 years.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, so I think people listen very carefully to this. If you're not in a tech industry, it doesn't mean that you should have nothing to do with the tech. So let's say you're a trucking logistics company, right? So you have to map routes, you have to avoid weather, and you're paying somebody likely who is in the wintertime in the Northeast. They're banging their head against the wall, trying to figure out how to route this to here and this to here and this to here, because these roads are going to be closed. How do I route around the storm but still show up on time? Like, all these different things. AI can be built that can do prediction modeling that runs circles around them. Now, most CEOs in that industry aren't going to do that themselves. They're going to wait for the software companies to come out and integrate AI, which they already are, into those logistics softwares. Well, guess what happens when those logistics softwares have that ability baked in? Every single other logistics company gets it at the same time that you do. And today, you don't have to wait for the software to come out. You can build it yourself so cheap that it will change your whole organization in months
and set you ahead of everyone else
and put you ahead. Or all of a sudden, this is what I think is going to happen. I was talking to same guy I was talking to at dinner the other night, large company, multi-million-dollar projects. He has to bid on his work. I believe that if he doesn't embrace AI, and this is a friend of mine. He is a client, but he's not an AI client. If he doesn't embrace AI the way that we're describing right now, what's going to happen is one of his competitors is, or more, and the only way they're going to find out about that is when all of a sudden their bids are cheaper. Like, wait a minute, because his admin costs, I don't even know what it is, but let's just say his admin costs, because admin's going to go first, right? That's what's going to be completely replaced by AI first. Admin, customer service, any job where you sit at a computer and you do work on a computer, that job is going to be the most affected job from AI. Attorneys, I think Anthropic's going to come out with a law firm. I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff that I think in my head. I think that AI is going to literally replace entire industries. But first, what's going to have to happen is it's going to replace certain jobs. Getting a job in customer service where you answer a phone and you interact with someone on the phone about their account and give them information or do troubleshooting, that can be 100% automated right now.
And it already is.
And it is in many cases. So what happens is the admin costs go from 20% to 5%, let's say, of someone's investment.
Which is not unrealistic.
All of a sudden, if their admin cost, which is 20% of their cost, goes down to 5%, and they want to win bids, what are they going to do? They're going to lower the bid cost.
Yep.
And now the guy over here who didn't do any AI, he can't physically do the bid for that price because he's still paying that extra 15% in his organization for admin costs.
Yeah.
It's a tax. Labor will be, in 5 years, labor will be seen as a tax. And what do people do with their taxes? It's labor. They do tax optimization. They hire tax attorneys to figure out how to creatively pay less percentage in tax. Human labor, you can hate me for saying this, but it is what it is. Human labor is going to be seen in business like it is a tax that can be optimized and lowered with technology.
Yeah,
and
well,
the ones who
that's
refuse to do it are going to be left behind
Exactly.
because somebody's going to come up with cheaper pricing than what you can. Now, what we're doing is we're increasing the value of what people are getting instead of lowering our pricing.
Yeah.
That's what we're choosing to do. Who knows if that's going to be the right move or not? We'll know in about 5 years.
probably less.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to kind of wrap it up, I think this is a good thing to wrap up on. How fast is AI changing? So, like you mentioned earlier, that AI is changing way faster than the internet is, and like exploding. How get put into a practical sense of how fast it's changing?
Every morning and every evening on X, I see something that is a complete game changer for multiple industries. That has never happened in my life. I've been on the front end of technology passionately. It's my passion. This is
Mhm.
what I would do if I got paid nothing and I sat around all day. I would dig into this stuff. Always have been that way with the internet and things. So I'm on the front lines. How I have been for 25 years. I have never in my life seen something. It's to the point, Mark, where we always share things. We have different ClickUp channels that we use
Yeah.
to share things with the team. I have to sit there and go through 7 things every
Oh yeah.
day and go, I can't share all this. Nobody's actually going to read it. So that's part of the problem. And Jonathan deals with the same thing. And Jonathan tries to rate everything on a 0 to 10 scale. Like, how important is this really? Because there's so much happening for us to stay on top of. And it's impossible. You have to have somebody full time in your organization or work with a vendor or a partner like us or another AI vendor who is staying on top of that as their
Yeah,
job.
exactly.
Because you can't literally, it's mind boggling to me. Claudebot came out and everyone was crazy because now you can hit a button and your computer just does, like, you can tell your computer what you want it to do all day and it reads your email, texts you if one comes in that's important or from a certain person. Maybe it's somebody asking a question about a bid, it'll text you. It acts as your assistant completely, like, and it can do so much more. It can code, it can do all that.
Yeah.
Well, then a week later, Anthropic's like, yo, here's our version of Claudebot. Like, now ChatGPT, they say we're not doing video anymore, but now we're doubling down on this. And then all of a sudden, Grok's video creation is absolutely amazing, to where I uploaded a video of an espresso machine the other day and then my picture, and I said, hey, make me a video of me making it, while it dropped about 40 pounds off of me, which I was thankful for. I was blown away. It's me.
Yeah.
It's
it looked just like you.
it's me making an espresso and multiple frames. I took a picture of my wife when she was about 3 years old on her grandfather's lap, who passed away many years ago. And I made a video of it and they're interacting and he's carrying her around the living room and stuff. And my wife cried. And this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
That's what's so crazy about it. Like we are at the very, very, very beginning of this. Our world is never going to not have this technology.
Exactly. I think the Back to the Future, where they went like into the future and it had all the cars and like the crazy floating cars, and they predicted that for to happen. I think it was like 10 years ago or something like that. But they predicted it for then. It's actually going to come true now, and it's not just a dream. It's not just a vision that we're like, oh, that sounds cool, but it's actually going to happen. And there's gonna be like crazy, floating cars. There's gonna be robots all over the place.
There already are flying cars.
And there are robots. So it's so cool.
Yeah. So the next 5 years is going to be nuts.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the biggest change. It's also going to be economically terrifying.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, it's a lot. But you got to get your head wrapped around the basics so that you can start to build on that.
Exactly. Well, Dad, thank you so much for joining the 5K5.
Yes,
Listeners,
sir.
thank you for listening, and peace out.
Peace.